1978. By 1980,
should you be mad that that you're telling me that?
No,
because now people will know her age. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. She's 30. So she's cool. Anyway, long story short, although it's probably been long already, but basically they had to leave the country because it got very violent and all kinds of stuff was happening. I'm not going to get into all that, but basically they came to San Antonio. So this movie was just about her life in Nicaragua from being a child all the way through until she came to the States, brought her family. But when we made the film, we decided to take her back to Nicaragua as a part of this film. But as we were there, we were filming interviews with her for the other film, for this film. And anyway, long story short, the pandemic hits, and I'm out of work, like a lot of people. There weren't a lot of film shoots happening. So I went through, I found a drive one day. I was going through all my stuff, and this film footage was on a drive, but we had shot 10 straight days in Nicaragua, which wasn't in this film. So I started looking at it, and I was like, this footage looks kind of cool. And I always knew that there was something to it when we were there. I was like, oh, we might want to think about doing a sequel. And so at this stage, we've decided to do a screening at Our Lady of the Lake Theater Auditorium on October 7th at 6:30. And that screening's be the first sort of time, it's our screening. So we're going to be there for the Q&A. We're going to show the film. So we're really kind of trying to roll out the red carpet and make it a big thing to try to bring in interest.
What did your mother-in-law say when you said, I want to make a film about you? What was her reaction?
Well, it's interesting because when I met my wife, literally started dating her, she told me, she said, I want to write a book about my mother, her life. Because not a lot of us have family that lived through what she did, right? Fleeing the revolution, violence, and all the stuff that happened. So I was always like, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. It wasn't until a few years into our marriage when my wife was kind of like, maybe we should just make a film. So she had been filming. I taught her how to film. So she had been filming interviews with her mother for the book concept. And then she eventually was like, let's just do it. Right. And I was like, of course. So, And so that's what we were like, let's go to Nicaragua. Let's do it. We shot some here, interviews in her house and stuff like that. But Sandra is a ham. So Sandra didn't have any problem with it. She loved.
It was made for it.
Yeah. She kind of was, actually. I think part of her could have been like an amazing actress or model or something, but she loved it. I mean, she loved the camera. You'll see in the film, there's moments where she like talks to me and she's just like, get my good side, stuff like that. She's got an amazing sense of humor, like an incredible person. And so she was really cool about it. And that's kind of one of the more interesting things is that for me is watching like a daughter make a film about her mother, but also it's like her story. I mean, she's literally like in it in terms of like, there's, you that was your bedroom. Yeah. You were born here. You played in this playground. But it's all gone. It's hard for me as an American to understand the idea of like they it's almost like they have like two lives, two worlds.
It's like a Wizard of Oz, black and white and Technicolor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like one frame of you is like, it'd be like, oh, I was born in Canada, but I was always raised in. So what would have it been like if I stayed in Canada or something?
Was that tough for your wife to be around, or even your mother-in-law to like go back there and see what's left, or like kind of their past? Was that had to have been difficult?
Yeah, and that's what the movie's about, right? So it's like they go back and they have to experience all this not only loss but having to go back and see your own home, where you live, because in a circumstance like Nicaragua, what happened a lot where people had to flee and they just lost everything, and just thinking like they lost their home that they built or bought and owned, and so it's some people are repatriating and stuff, but others aren't, and it's like I remember being there. I kept thinking, I was like, I can't imagine like building a family home, building a home, a life, and then being uprooted, and then 30 years later coming back to it and seeing it, and all like just the mental, the psychology of that, going through that and kind of experiencing that. But that's that's what the film hopes to bring out, is showing Sandra and Ren and Linda, her daughter, my wife. It's about that. It's a mother at its core. It's a film about a mother-daughter connecting and that mother-daughter relationship, but with the backdrop of going back to time or to an alternate universe of your life and sort of experiencing that and having to come to terms with it.
Oof. You brought the trailer that I want to show. If we can show that so people can get a little more insight.
Thank you.
Esta es la Renelinda, pero nada más que no va a salir la cara.
My name is Dr. Renalinda Arana Bressler. I'm the youngest of 4 children of Sandra Arana. I'm a sociology professor and always wanted to travel to my birth country of Nicaragua with my mother. After many years, I finally got the chance to do just that. This is that story where my mother and I went back to Nicaragua for the first time in over 30 years.
It looks like it's going to be an amazing film. Tell everybody about what's happening at the screening on the 7th.
Yeah, thank you. So at the screening on the 7th at 6:30 at Theory Auditorium at Our Lady of the Lake University, which is on the west side of the city, we partnered with a migrant shelter on the west side called Posadas Guadalupe, and basically they're going to be there, and we're also going to show a short clip that we did for them, just promoting them and talking about what they offer, because it's a Catholic or Franciscan order that runs the shelter. So when we're there, the idea is that the clip we have, we're there to promote them and get people to understand it. If it's something they're interested in, that they can help, because they're literally bread, corn, whatever. A lot of the men there, it's all men. A lot of the men are young, teenage to college age, and they're coming from really, really rough circumstances, mostly Central American, but there's also a couple from Mexico, and they're actually some from Africa and overseas. And so the shelter is basically offers them a place to stay while they're getting their status, whatever that will be. So we're partnering with them because in essence, that's Sandra's story. Is that when they came to this country, they were refugees, and so really quickly, what happened for them is they got to San Antonio Airport, and a customs agent was gonna tell them to get back. They couldn't come in because they didn't have the proper documentation or whatever. And it wasn't until her 7-year-old daughter and her 10-year-old son were like, no, you have this letter from the government, a threatening letter. And so the customs agents looked it over and were like, oh, okay. Yeah, so they were that close. So so the Posadas mission statement, the Franciscan mission statement with the Father Lay is the father there, Father Philip Lay. And so, we really believe in it. And we think it ties so nicely with the movie. And so anyway, they will be there. They're going to have a booth. And so if people want to donate time, money, energy, food, anything, blankets, because these men have nothing, and so that's a big component to that screening on the 7th.
That's amazing. How can people get tickets if they're in San Antonio or the area? How do they get tickets to the screening? Or if they're not, how do they support the film and you?
So in terms of the screening, there's no tickets, there's no money at the door or anything. It's all like just, hey, if you want to give us money, then you're giving it to Posadas. They'll be there to collect money, cash. They have a PayPal account, and I think they're going to have a credit card reader type thing. As far as us, we're not collecting any. There's no. We realize that it's for people like us, independent filmmakers. It's really so much of it is about exposure and getting your film seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were very much like, oh no, we don't want to charge. The film screening will have a live also simulcast online. Cool. So you will be able to find that involved with the screening. It's through the Lake, the Lake University is putting that on. And in terms of supporting us and the film, I mean, just really look us up. We have BresslerProductions.com is our website.
What are you working on after this?
So Daniel Bomer and another amazing. These are all San Antonio. We have an amazing talent in this city.
We do.
Particularly, I can't speak to art because I'm not that tuned in, but writing and filmmaking, the talent is incredible, mm-hmm. and there's so much great stuff going on. And so I'm working with two gentlemen, a gentleman named Josh Kaza and Daniel Bomer, who edited our film. We have a novel in the works, and we're writing another feature film. Daniel, Josh, and I are making in conjunction with Christian Stride, with Stride Studios, we're making a feature film now called No Promised Land, starring Destiny Soria. And so we're all San Antonio based people, the actors, everybody, the editors. I mean, I want to build here, mm-hmm. not alone. I want to do it with others, and I want to build up because there's so much talent here. So that's it. We have a feature film in the works, a novel which we want to turn into a TV show someday, and then another featured script which we're going to start a business proposal for. So in my view, it's like.
Hi, Wendy at The Right Fit here, and today let's talk about big earrings because they are fun and they can change up the look of your outfit affordably and easily. For example, if I wanted to add a feminine flair to my bohemian top, I could add these little numbers. Aren't those cute? Or if I wanted to be just a bit more classic, how about some big gold hoops like that? If I wanted a beachy, summery vibe, I could add these aqua kind of embroider type earrings. There is aqua in my shirt. Or if I wanted to be artsy, I could add these geometric beauties. So
During the Richard Wilmore Show. Become a sponsor today. Go to richardwilmore.com.
There we go. Joe, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I feel like I'm in the South already.
If you have that accent, I'm hoping that I never have it. I've been in Texas for 4 years now. Although I have a Wisconsin accent, so that's not that cute either. But
I could hear the cheese in there.
Could
sure.
you?
Mm-hmm.
Could you? Good.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. What came first, the teacher or the comedian?
Great question. I just want to dabble into these waters for a second and flip that on you. What do you, just out of curiosity, what do you think came first?
I'm gonna guess you were always very funny. Obviously, sent video. And I don't know. I'm going to guess in some realm you were always a comedian.
I was a stand-up comedian for my 3rd grade talent show when I was 8 years
Wow.
old. Yeah. And then started doing stand-up taking it seriously in college, stand-up and improv. And then I don't know if you know this, but teachers are God, what's the word?
Amazing.
Poor.
Oh.
Poor? Yeah.
Yes.
So I was doing sets 3-4 nights a week just to put gas in my car. Like, honestly, because I would get my paychecks and then pay my bills. And then I'd have to choose between gas and groceries. So doing like $20, $50 sets a couple times a week was making a difference. So I was just doing it, loved it, knew it was something I always wanted to do on top of teaching. But when I started actually making a little, offsetting my poverty-stricken teaching life is when it really started to make a difference. And then it exploded, and here we are. Yeah.
Were you writing your own material for your 3rd grade talent show?
No, I was actually stealing from a local magician, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny part about it is I grew up like we were a comedy family. I was the funny one. The rest were just consumers. But we watched a lot of, like, ironically, Ellen DeGeneres. We watched a lot of Rosie O'Donnell, Kathy Griffin, Wanda. We just there was comedy in my house all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Predominantly female comedy, actually.
Weird.
And it was amazing. So I was doing these jokes from a magician, which in my interpretation was in the style of these great lesbian comics. And I thought I was everything. But, I watched back the footage. I'm like, she needs some work.
Wait, how did you fare in the talent show then? Did you win?
There was no winning.
Oh.
Like we weren't trying to break like 7 and 8-year-old hearts.
Oh, it was just showcasing.
I literally thought I was everything, though. Like, I remember going to school the next year, going into 4th grade and introducing myself to my teacher. Like, oh, you might remember me. Like, I was the comedian in the talent show last year. Like, there was like no doubt in my mind that everyone was just like, oh, I am the comedian.
The comedian. Where did you grow up?
Michigan. I was born in Detroit. Spent the majority of my time just outside in the burbs.
I think all of us kids who grew up in the Midwest, I grew up in northern Wisconsin, just thought that's what we were. Like, you were just the comedian and I was just the talk show host. I was 8 years old in my bedroom doing exactly this, talking to the air next to me.
And Beanie Babies, probably.
Yeah. It's my Rosie O'Donnell is really what I was talking to.
Yeah.
Just over there in the corner. So did you was this a thing where like you dreamed this would be your life one day, and then you started teaching, or?
I was really putting it out there into the world as a young age. Like, whenever we had to do writings on what do you want to be when you grow up, it was often comedian. And then I sort of like let that dream go for a little while when I was in college, because I was under the impression, and as a lot of people are, that you can't do teaching and be any sort of public figure, especially comedian. And I thought that was trash, because I really think that students, the way that they learn about who's out there in the world is by having different teachers every single year who have different interests, different lives, different traditions, and are just different people. And that's what exposes them to the world outside their classroom. So I was bringing in humor into the classroom, and it was very a gradual confidence builder to this. But eventually I would tell them, I do comedy. That's my hobby. This is what I do outside of here. And they were like, you can like be funny as a job? I'm like, yeah, you can. And it's like, it's very cathartic. So the way that I have broken that mold for myself is I'm very proud of it, because I feel like nobody's going to tell me no. And I had so many people tell me, well, you can't be a comedian and a teacher. And them telling me I can't made me double and triple down on making it possible. And then here she is.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you put out that video in 2017, did you just do it as like, oh, I'm going to do that, not thinking anything was going to happen? Or were you like, no, this is it. This is ridiculous?
was definitely not an accident. and I knew it had potential. Like I definitely was going over the concept in my head. I'm like, this is funny. It's timeless. It's shareable. And I think that it will relate to multiple demographics of people. So I made a very conscious decision that looking back on it was like more intentional than I thought. But this was at a time where I was still sort of skeptical of putting my comedy on the internet. And I flipped the switch from private to public when I posted it. So that tells you there was an inkling in my head that like this could do well. And it did. And I like divine intervention, whoever infiltrated my brain to like make me do that. I'm forever grateful.
Yeah. And then cut to you hanging out with Ellen.
Boom. Unbelievable.
What was that like?
I'll tell you what I can remember of it, but it was just a dream.
Yeah.
A little bit of backstory of how surreal it was. After the video really started to go viral, I went on a family vacation and we were in Disney World. And I was on the Finding Nemo ride, which is narrated by Ellen as the voice of Dory. And I just turned and to who I was with, and I was like, wouldn't it be wild if like she called to put me on the show? And within 5 minutes of walking out of the ride is when I got my first phone call to join the show for that season, which I was like,
wow.
Yep. And then when I was on the show, they were very much telling me, this is you as wholesome teacher. We know that you are a comedian, but this isn't your last comic standing audition. Don't try and be funny. And I'm over here like, I won't try because I just am.
Just am.
Right. So then
they've never worked with a comedian before.
Exactly. So then they were like, and by the way, too, if Ellen, on commercial breaks, if she gets up out of her seat to get coffee or fix her hair or something, like, don't take that personally. She is, she's working. And I'm like, okay, I totally understand. Well, cut to the first commercial break, she stays in her seat and she turns to me. She's like, hey, I heard that you're a comedian. I'm like, yeah, I am. And she goes, well, I want you to know I think you're very funny. And I'm like, thanks. And she goes, no, I think you're very funny and you need to do something with that. And I'm like, cut to go back on the show immediately. If you watch the clip back, I'm like totally out of my mind. And it really just lit a fire underneath me to hit the ground running and keep writing and make your comedy longer. And I did. And eventually I was able to tour with it, which that's when things really started to snowball, which I will forever be in her debt for building my confidence in this career.
How is the tour going?
The tour is fantastic.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable to be able to get to talk about my life and just who I am, and to be real about teaching. One of the biggest things with education is teachers feel like you have to like not talk about how horrendous this career really is. And I talk about that through the lens of humor. And my goal is when non-teachers leave my show, they're laughing in their car. And then they stop and reflect and they say to their partner, like, that is terrible. It's actually like that. And then hopefully they change their mindset to make the world better for teachers, because the truth is it's non-teachers who make the decisions about education, not the teachers. So I'm just using comedy as the vessel for change. Damn, where's my award? Like, wow. that was, I'm sorry. That was good.
Do we just stop that now? Or do we just like blank screen?
That was good. That was great. And you know what else too? It's real. I've always believed that. And I just hope that this continues to snowball and get bigger and bigger so that I can have a bigger platform to actually change the way that the American education system is run.
I hope so.
I
hope it's you in charge of it. Those in San Antonio, I mean, this is everywhere, but those in San Antonio where we film, you're going to be at the LOL Comedy Club on the 12th, which is very exciting.
I can't wait.
I can't either. And you're part of our 5th season premiere today. So I can't think 5 years.
Okay, wait, let me ask you this real quick. What's it called? this place. I've been craving this place since I was in San Antonio last. Is it Mia's or something? It's got like, it's super authentic Mexican. It's the place that everybody goes to eat like amazing Mexican food, and it's big and well known, and it's got like little pendants when you walk in.
Is it Max? He wants to know. I'll ask Max. There's a Mexican restaurant here, Mia's. Is that a thing?
I don't think it's Mia's. I think now I'm confusing Dallas.
Mia's. Is it on? It's not on the Riverwalk, is it?
It might.
You don't know.
But here's the thing.
We'll do some research. Yeah.
I'm gonna find it, and I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna.
That's where he'll be.
All of the foods.
So all the fans can just go to all the Mexican restaurants here and wait for you.
Hey,
to show up.
We'll do a little meet and greet. I'll bring them business and eat my weight in tacos.
That sounds amazing. That's what San Antonio's for. So have at it.
Yeehaw.
Are you also still hosting your podcast?
I am. The Social Studies Podcast, the podcast where I study being social by being social. Just talk about the everyday world of education and the funny things that happen in there. I pull my fans to tell me wild experiences that they've had, and then I read what they've written me and give my hot takes on what has happened to me in the classroom and how real these experiences are. Hilarity ensues, but I am still doing it, and it is so much fun.
And of course, that's on all the podcast platforms. So look Social Studies up. How can people get tickets to your shows, come see you, know where you're at?
You can check my website, mrdtimes3.com, which is also my social media handle on all of the things. Mr. D times 3. And I'm always posting more cities that I'm coming to. So if you're not going to be in San Antonio, when I'm in San Antonio, perhaps I'm coming to a city that you'll just happen to be on.
Of course, because this is everywhere. So and you'll be everywhere, and that's what's fun.
This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. Just so we know.
Don't sing it though. I don't have the license for that.
Done deal.
I don't want to get sued. Joe, thank you so much for jumping on and talking to me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was really fun. I appreciate it, and I hope you can come to the show.
I'll be there on the 12th.
We'll see you there.
All right. We'll be right back after this, everyone. Thanks, Joe.
I'm Stacey Andon, a life and business coach, here to help people do it their way and create amazing results in their life. I've got one question for you today. I want you to think about a dilemma, big or small, something you're not quite sure you know the answer to. And I want you to imagine your 10-year from now self is standing right next to you right now, and you get to ask that self any question you want about this thing, this situation that you're not quite sure about. What wisdom does yourself have for you? What guidance? Anything is on the table to ask. I would love to hear what happens when you have that conversation. Check me out at staceyandon.com and pop over to my Facebook group, Unlock Your Midlife Magic, and talk to me anytime.
Wouldn't it be great if your business could have a commercial on TV? Now it can. Secure your Season 5 sponsorship by visiting richardwilmore.com. Advertise on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV by sponsoring The Richard Wilmore Show. Become a sponsor today. Go to richardwilmore.com now.
That's our show, everyone. Hey, if you want to watch us on TV, make sure you download the KP Media TV app to watch us on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. If you want to come be in the audience and watch a take with musician Chuck Weimer, have a great day, everyone. Bye.